welcome back to the Eyes on Leafs podcast, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed the last pod that we did. We're back. I think this is the first time in a long time that we've gone back-to-back weeks here with the episode.
Oh my god, no, this is coming out
this is back-to-back
Thursday. Same day almost.
Days,
yeah, back-to-back.
Our last show, dropping pods. Our last show's a little old. That one's on me.
Yeah.
It took a couple days to edit it there.
That one's actually rendering as we speak.
Okay, nice.
In YouTube? Is it
no,
posting?
on my editor. It's rendering as we speak. So that should be up tonight.
All right,
Wednesday night.
So I mean, there's not much has been happening on the Leaf side and full NHL side since we last talked. There's been a lot of Four Nations stuff, so we're gonna get into that. But as always, I think we're gonna start with the Leafs here. There's a little bit of news to get through. We'll keep it pretty brief here, and then I really would want to dive into the Four Nations. There's just a lot to talk about there. But yeah, so we're going to start Yarncroke back at practice today and yesterday, I'm pretty sure.
Crazy.
I mean, any thoughts?
Yarncroke, dude.
I mean, he played one preseason game
for 5 minutes and then died again.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what was going on.
He had a sports hernia, right?
Sports hernia.
That's what he had. Those are I say that like I know what it's like to have a sports hernia.
Man, those sports hernias, those are the worst.
Those are just terrible.
Never had it. No, but it's good to have Yarncroke back. I feel like he's kind of that missing middle forward piece that the Leafs have really been lacking this year. It's kind of just been Bobby McMahon and the core four and Matthew Nyes.
Yeah. We'll see how he plays. I mean, it's been so long, and I mean, last year he wasn't bad.
He was good.
His scoring fell off from the year before, but he's still a useful utility guy. I will never understand the people who were
overpaid,
yelling and screaming. Overpaid or yelling and screaming for him to be traded. And it's bro, this guy makes $2.4 million and plays on your penalty kill. Is basically a lock for at least 12 goals in a healthy season.
Yeah, I mean he had 20 in his first season with the Leafs, which it was obviously an outlier.
That was career high.
He played quite a few games on Matthews and Marner's wing that year too. And the craziest thing is he looked good.
Just in the top six in general.
He looked good.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about Calle Yarncroke. He's so versatile.
Yeah.
This guy can play on any line, and I feel like this season, he could be a really good fourth liner. I think
for sure.
I feel like that's kind of where he might belong this season. We'll see. I don't know if he makes it on the third line.
Fourth line, Craig Berube fourth line game though. He's not really that physical. He's more just defensively responsible.
I think he could play. I think he could work.
I think we see him on the third line if he comes back.
Yeah,
I think we see him on the third line if he comes back. He'll just a little bit of speed. Obviously a reliable defensive player. But the only thing that I wonder is how does it work on the cap? It's only $2 million, so you're probably gonna have to move a couple guys out if you want to.
I think
bring them in. Well, no, because if you want to make a move at the deadline, you're gonna need extra cap too.
Yeah.
So the way I'm looking at it is that the trade deadline is March 1st, right?
I don't even know the day, but probably around there,
yeah, so we're coming up on it here after the Four Nations. This thing goes right into trade deadline talk, and so now we got to start looking at this team on how it's going to be for the rest of the year.
I mean, if you can get David Camp out at the deadline, I think it solves everything for them. Issue is,
do they want to get him out? That's a true living sign.
That's the thing, because I'm the only thing that I hesitate with on assuming David Camp will just be the cap casualty is there's been not a single rumor, just nothing about.
He plays every game too, which is.
Yeah. I think we're more likely to see probably someone like Connor Timmins get sent out.
Yeah, Nick Robertson,
I don't even know about
too, I think.
Robertson only makes $800,000. I think Nick Robertson wouldn't get moved for cap purposes. He'd get moved.
No. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right in that sense. But he's gonna get moved.
I don't know if we're necessarily gonna see anybody get shipped out cap wise. We might just see people get buried.
Can I give you guys some numbers?
And they might have to just run a short roster.
Who on the Leafs roster would be worth trading for the cap? There's no one there.
Really, it's David Camp.
Let me give you some numbers
Camp
here.
Camp is only one.
David Camp makes $2.4 million for 2 seasons after this. Ryan Reeves 1.35 for just next season. Connor Dewar is on an expiring deal, which is $1.18 million, and Connor Timmins makes 1.1, which is also an expiring deal.
I was gonna say I think most likely if you see a minor trade, the corresponding move is probably going to be burying Connor Timmins because he's fully buriable.
That's good.
They'll throw him on waivers. I
don't think he gets
think-
You should
played.
put Revo in the AHL, dude.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you get
There's-
Yarncroke back, you don't need Reeves at this.
You're gonna, because that's a variable contract too. Like, there's no.
I don't
risk in
know. I
putting
don't know
the-
if Revo's variable or if it
thought
wouldn't
he
be.
was.
The cap penalty wouldn't be anything if he
No.
wasn't fully variable. It'd be like 100. It'd be like what Matt Benning is making right now.
Oh my God, Matt
Yeah,
Benning.
I forgot
Matt
about
Benning.
him, dude.
Matt Benning is elite, by the way.
I forgot about that.
Holy fuck!
He's put with the Marlies, right?
I got another one for you.
Yeah, he's on the Marley. He's just been buried in the AHL this year.
I know
but
this isn't going to be.
I thought we'd see some games from him, but like they've like
Yeah.
legitimately everybody else but him to play games.
I'm very curious about that
Yeah,
situation. If
32
they give him
games
a
with
look.
NHL in the AHL this year, 1 goal, 7 assists for 8 points.
Very curious if they give him a look at all because he was solid for San Jose.
I
but
think
that's besides the
Dakota
point.
Mermis
I
gets a
doubt
look
it. I feel
before
like
him.
if they want, I feel like if they really want to give him a look, they would have found a way to do it by now.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
Mar-
like we've had so many.
That's
injuries
what I
back-
mean,
Has,
yeah,
has
like-
Mermis even played a game for the Leafs this year?
No.
No.
Oh, he's back with
Yeah,
the Leafs.
yeah,
isn't
they
he?
reclaimed him.
Yeah, 'cause they took him back from Utah.
They took him back.
Apparently, he looked awful in Utah. Like, he played like a couple games, and apparently he was brutal, dude.
Well,
Which makes sense.
That's funny.
Dude, they activated him to some to the AHL to do conditioning, and then he got picked up to go
Straight
that's,
away.
Utah.
that,
Yeah.
that just feels like a terrible etiquette move to claim a guy that's going to the AHL for conditioning after doing his whole recovery process.
I don't
with the
know.
Leafs.
I don't know if it was conditioning because I think you bypass waivers for conditioning purposes, but it was
yeah.
like I think he spent time with the Leafs, and then they're like, "Hey, we're gonna send you to the AHL to get your game back."
Well,
and then
he got injured immediately,
yeah,
like in training
Yeah.
camp, and he was just
He broke his
recovering
jaw,
from the
yeah.
injury. I can't. I don't know
It
what
was
the
a
injury
broken
was.
jaw,
I
but
think it was his jaw.
He came back, and like obviously they're not gonna start it. He was never an NHL signing in the first place.
Yeah.
that
Which
was
is
a depth
crazy because he
signing,
played
but like
52 games last season with the Wild.
solid depth.
I can't complain.
Speaking of the AHL, Alex Steves got called up today. I wonder if that has something to do with the. I didn't kind of like tie these two together because I think it's because of Matthews. Matthews said that he has a new injury now
Oh my!
from the Four Nations.
We need to talk about that later.
We're going to talk. Yeah, we're going to talk. We'll keep it brief on Steves. There's not much to say there. I do think they should give him a little bit of a chance. I
I would love to see him play.
saying on
Alex Steve,
Twitter,
bro.
Steve's kind of
Alex
deserves
Steves
another
is so
run
funny to me.
because
you
he's
call him a
been
house
playing
league
well in the AHL. Dude,
Yeah.
So
dude, this guy
through
the guy's
40 games, he has 29 goals this season in the AHL.
Mateo. He's the Marlies' all-time leading scorer.
I know, yeah, it's crazy.
That's terrible.
And dude, he's played what? One,
He's played like
2,
10
3,
games in his
4
career in the NHL.
He's played 4 seasons with the Marlies, by the way. So it's not even like he's like a
all-time
Yeah.
leading scorer, man.
But dude, it's like he plays like at most 65 games and it's always 20 goals.
Dude, you
Always 20
gotta
goals locked.
have like some crazy confidence in yourself because like I don't even know what that guy's getting paid in the AHL right now. He's probably making like 80 grand a year. That guy could be going to Europe for sure. There's no way this guy hasn't gotten Europe offers to get
Well,
make
he's
at
still
least
an
like a
RFA,
couple hundred
right?
grand a year.
He's still
Even
the
if you're an
thing-
RFA though, you can still
No, I
leave.
know, but I wonder if he's only 25, so I wonder if he thinks maybe I'll get a shot with the Leafs.
That's what I'm
eventually.
saying. Like he's got to have some
should.
crazy confidence in himself
Yeah.
to like.
Look,
But why
he's
would
got
you
the-
not? Why would you not?
Yeah.
They've struggled to score goals all year, and you have a guy who has 29 goals in 40 games in the A. Like, what's the
He's
worst
the
that could
league
happen?
leading
Put him in
scorer
the
right
top
now,
6
isn't
and
he?
just see what happens.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
he's
he
the
is,
league
yeah.
leader. There's guys
Just
like
see
that.
what happens, dude.
There's always guys like that though, where like
Yeah.
they score
I mean,
like
Levo was
crazy.
that, or no, Bracco was that guy for us before.
Yeah.
Bracco was like that too, but although
Yeah.
we never gave Bracco like an NHL chance,
think it was
but
for
Well,
a
that's
reason.
but they haven't really given
There's-
Steve's an
there's-
NHL chance.
there's
That's like he's
guy-
Bracco.
there-
He's the current day Bracco.
Bracco never played a game though.
The difference with Bracco though
I
is he
know,
did it like way younger.
I think Bracco
Yeah.
also had a pretty bad
Bracco was,
cocaine
like,
addiction, which
20.
kind of they probably didn't.
Oh
want to bring
yeah,
up for that
yeah,
reason.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
about
but
that.
that's besides the point. I'm just saying, like,
It's important.
there's sometimes there's just guys like that though who score like crazy in the AHL and then they don't really do shit in the
Like,
NHL,
just
like
give them the
because their
chance to-
game's not really a bottom 6 role, and if they can't
Well, that's what I'm saying,
translate
try
their
to make
high end
top
skill to
6,
the
dude.
NHL,
here's my thing.
Just see what happens if you put in the top 6. Then you can move McMahon down to the bottom to the third
Absolutely,
line, and McMahon would
absolutely.
be a perfect third line player.
Here's
Like, you might as
here's
well
my
try
thing
it,
right
I
now.
guess.
My thing right
Yeah.
now is that
What do you
Here.
lose? We're on the playoffs. Just try shit, dude.
if
No, I
Matthews
don't
is
care.
out, like fuck it, do it. I don't know.
That's what happened with McMahon. McMahon came into the lineup because Matthews was hurt. He played his first game against
Don't get me
Nashville,
wrong.
and then
I'm
he,
not like disagreeing with you guys. I'm just saying.
I don't know
like,
why we're bringing
yeah,
up
fuck it.
Alex
Try it if
Steves
Matthews is out.
if Nick Robertson is still going to be in the lineup. You know, like Robertson has had a brutal year, and we don't need to be playing them both in the same game. If they're like,
I don't mean, you might as well try some, dude. Because if he comes up and starts scoring some goals for you, you have it there. Like you have.
Well, I'm saying scratch
Roberts. Right? Oh, scratch Roberts.
Robertson.
Yeah, I
bring
guess
bring
maybe.
in
The only
give him a chance.
the only thing that I like hesitate on with Alex Steves is just the fact that like we've seen him in the NHL, and not that he's gotten the best chance in the
No, he
past.
hasn't.
But even with a guy like Bobby McMahon, when he came up before he was the player he was now for the Leafs, when he was still that kind of like AHL tweener, there you could see aspects of his game that could stick in an NHL role. Like you could see his speed the whole time. We could see his physicality when he was still like on the Leafs fourth line. Like he looked like a player that could compete for a fourth line role at a time. I don't see that with Steves from what we've seen from it. Like he kind of every time he's in the lineup, he just
To his defense, he's
does
playing
nothing.
fourth line with Ryan Reeves usually. Like you're not getting.
I get it, but
like
there's
McMahon plays more of a bottom six game than Steves does. So if you try him in the top
Exactly.
six,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. You move McMahon down to like maybe Pacioretty sits out a couple of
That's-
games because he wasn't at practice today. I don't know why he wasn't. Maybe sick. I'm not sure. I didn't say anything else on that. But
yeah.
if you take Pacioretty out of the lineup, and it's not like it's not like Patches has like earned a concrete spot in this lineup. I think he's kind of fallen off a little bit from the top. Of the season,
definitely
from the start of the season.
scoring wise.
Yeah, like, dude, drop him, take him out of the lineup. If you really drop McMahon down, and then you can play Steves in the top six and see what happens. And, dude, if he doesn't,
Just a couple shifts,
if you don't
right?
have him, then you're the same. Yeah, or just give him a game. Like, why does it matter? If he doesn't work, then we're in the position we are right now.
Give him
and
more
it's
than
not-
10
it
minutes a
doesn't
game,
hurt you at
and-
all.
I don't
Yeah.
disagree. I don't disagree with you. I just don't have the most confidence in this as something that could be like another McMahon scenario where, because just from what we've seen from him, it just hasn't. Like I haven't seen anything in the how many games has he played for
11.
the Leafs in his
11.
career? Like 11. Yeah, I haven't seen anything in those 11 games
The most he's played like in a single season is 4.
Yeah.
So I feel like you gotta give it a little bit more of a look for him to
Also
and,
fair,
and in
yeah.
the top 6. So like I don't know.
4 games.
I think that
Four games
you're-
in a row is the most he's played in the NHL. He never gets more than 10, 11 minutes a night. He's not getting a chance. I don't think it's fair to judge him based on what we've seen. Like 11 games.
I'm not saying play him on the power play. I'm just saying give him a shot in the top 6 and see what happens.
Put
Like,
him first line power play
First
right
line
in
power
Matthew
play.
slot,
Matthews
dude.
Bar.
That
Yeah.
guy's a sniper. Dude, that guy is a fucking
Hey,
sniper.
he'd be better than Nick Ritchie up there.
All-time Marlies
dude.
leading scorer. Come on.
The last time I heard about Nick Ritchie is when he dummied that guy in the cage or wherever
He's done.
he's playing
He's
for
cooked.
Finland.
He's
Dude,
cooked.
he like
Dude, he's cooked
punched
now.
some guy's head into the ice and that was
Do you
it.
guys remember when
cooked
when
now.
the Flames season was on the line and Daryl Sutter put out Nick Ritchie in the shootout?
What? When did that happen?
It was- must have been 2 seasons
that
ago.
guy. Dude, this guy Nick Ritchie is playing in the Slovakian league right now.
All right, we're
he
getting lost
actually?
in the weeds here. We should move on to Four Nations.
Okay, yeah. I want to move on. I want to move on to the Matthews injury.
Dude, sorry,
No,
real
no,
quick.
we're not
He's-
talking
he's-
about Nick Ritchie, dude.
He's so bad that his hockey DB is glitched.
What do you mean?
Oh my God, we're
Like,
not talking about
there's
Nick
a
Ritchie,
duplicate.
bro.
There's a duplicate season. Anyways,
I'm looking at it.
Yeah, so Richie played with Matthews, so we're moving on to Matthews. Matthews sustained a new injury at the Four Nations. He said it was minor.
Yeah.
I wonder if that game meant something for the U.S. I assume he plays. If that game means anything for the Leafs, I assume he plays. Like it doesn't see. Like I gotta be honest with you. I don't know how bad the injury really is. I think he might have just wanted to break. I don't because that game against Sweden meant nothing, and Chuck ended up getting hurt and. A couple of other guys. I think Trocheck got a shot to the hand, and he's hurt now too. So like I don't know. We'll see if he comes back to the Leafs and he doesn't play. I'm gonna be kind of pissed. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like it's your
I
club team,
surely fucking hope that it's just like a little, bruise. And he was just
Yeah.
like, yeah, you know what? I'll just take the night because this is like exactly what we were nervous about.
Yeah, yeah. Him going, getting
It's
hurt,
been
and
very well documented that he has not had the healthiest season. And I think we were all very nervous about him going to this tournament and, re-aggravating something. And now it's not even that. He just got a new injury. So that's awesome to hear. I mean, I really hope it's just minor, but we'll see, I guess.
yeah. The Leafs play a back-to-back to strip the year back off again
Awesome.
against Carolina.
Nice.
In Toronto against Carolina on Saturday.
Those always
and
go
in
good.
Chicago on Sunday. So we'll see. I do want to kind of move on from the Leafs now and head into the Four Nations, because I think there's a lot more to talk about here. The Leafs were kind of just some.
What do you mean? I could do this all day.
Dude, I know, me too. But we can not talk about Alex Steves for another half an hour.
Dude, let's go on about Nick Ritchie, please.
Hockey DB deep diving on like the worst players.
That's what Seb does in his free time. Bro.
Yeah, instead of having a job or anything of that sort.
I literally work, man. Come on.
Right.
All right, Four Nations. I just want to get some thoughts on the last two games we talked about before we recorded. I guess we didn't record, but we haven't recorded since the Canada versus US game ended. So I guess we could just talk about the Canada-US game and then just briefly touch on the Canada-Finland, and the US-Sweden didn't really matter aside from injuries. And then we'll move on to preview the final game here between Canada and the US, which takes place tomorrow at 8 o'clock. So I want to get started with the Canada versus US game first here. I mean, obviously, I think everyone watched that. I think the ratings were crazy. It's still a lot of people talking about hockey.
I think it's like it was like the most watched game in like ever.
Not Stanley Cup game since 2014. I think
It's really great to see hockey finally get some of the attention that it deserves.
Yeah,
I've been seeing that game pop up everywhere.
Yeah. Obviously, the 3 fights in 9 seconds to start the game kind of helps everything.
Dude, I was losing it.
I've never felt more patriotic in my life.
Yeah. People don't like fighting in hockey, but I will always want to hear it. It's amazing. It's like one of my favorite parts of the game. It's unreal.
Oh my god,
it's just so.
It's so much fun.
So exciting when something like that happens.
Yeah.
I was half expecting a draw or a fight right off the opening draw, but then the other two happened, and I'm like jumping up and down on the bed. Like this is unreal.
I fell to my knees singing "O Canada." When I saw Colton Parayko stuffing JT Miller,
Miller punching himself in the head.
By the way, just
JT Miller popping his own bucket off, just uppercut right to the forehead.
I've seen enough, by the way. Brandon Hagel for Prime Minister.
Dude, I used to hate on Hagel so much because I hated him in Tampa. He is so nice when he's on your team.
He's gonna walk with the Leafs in the playoffs this year, but I don't
for nice and 2 first-round picks.
With Marc-Andre Fleury too, by the way.
Walk
Fleury is a Leaf, crazy.
Most overrated goalie in NHL history. Yeah, I don't know. I thought
we'll save that for our hot takes episode.
Go ahead, dude.
That's getting clipped.
Go ahead. That's Matt Murray's cup. Anyways,
remember when he lost his starting job to Thomas Vokoun? Anyways,
yeah. I don't know. It was a great start, and then obviously McDavid walks McAvoy, and puts Canada up 1-0, but it kind of felt like
and then
we
McAvoy
really had.
Fucking.
Dude,
puts him on a poster.
McAvoy made it his mission to murder him right after he walked him. But
so funny,
dude. My God, he crushed him a couple times.
Too bad McDavid.
No one hits
McDavid.
Lose
his arm to an infection.
Like no, the McDavid dark magic, bro. It's over.
Dude, when McAvoy landed that hit, I was like, that like changed the momentum of that game. Mm-hmm. Like that's where I felt the momentum really switched. Like it was crazy.
And obviously the soft goal that Bankton allows on Connor on the wing there. Not great.
I like to give
Bennington.
Canada does I was giving their forwards a lot of shit during the game, but I didn't give any credit to the US for how well they just clamped any offense.
They played a trap, dude. It was a pure trap. Like you can get to the middle of the ice. Everything was on the perimeter. And surprise, Mitch Marner does nothing in an important game.
Yeah, but I will say...
So, Jacob, you can have his 3-on-3 overtime winner. Both of you can. I don't give a shit, dude.
Well,
he's been a ghost ever since.
We'll save this for after the goal.
Third line right winger. Third line right winger, by the way. Playing a defensive role. He wants to get paid like McDavid, and he's playing a shutdown role on the right winger.
I thought according to your logic, this tournament meant nothing. So, why does it matter?
No, it means nothing when they play 3-on-3. It means nothing when they play 3-on-3. That's what I said. I said, no, dude. I said in the play that overtime winner does not matter because it was 3-on-3.
But if he did not score that overtime winner, then Canada would have been eliminated from the tournament.
I don't care, dude. I don't.
Good point.
Yeah.
But also,
congratulations on your 3-on-3 winner, dude. I don't care.
Austin Matthews played fucking incredible defense in that third period.
Oh yeah. I
When
mean,
does he
he's playing
not, though?
silky level defense,
it's
but
it's
I mean, the thing is
crazy.
with Matthews is that, for me at least, when I'm watching the Leafs, I thought Willie looked pretty decent. I think all of Sweden didn't look
was
that
okay.
great, but he was okay. He had a couple of nice plays, but I thought it's disappointing for me because, especially for Matthews, because he's supposed to be a top 5 player in the league, and he kind of has been reduced to kind of a defensive center role.
I feel
which
like you expect more from your
That's what I'm saying.
national team captain.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And
Sidney
it's
Crosby
different
comes to the
but
event. Like,
yeah, but it's also different. Like if Crosby started playing defensive center role, then I would understand him more because he's 39. Like
yeah,
he's
like
at the end of his
30,
career.
he's like 30, yeah, 37,
Yeah,
38.
he's captain because he's Crosby. Matthews is
Yeah.
captain because he's probably the best. He's the best American player right now, and he's not playing. In my opinion, he's not
He's
playing
also
like
the best goal scorer in the NHL.
I wonder if he
Yeah,
was still
like-
dealing with something going into this tournament because he's not having that same like dominant level Austin Matthews play that he usually does.
Like I've seen a lot of people on Twitter talk about his defensive play, like people who are cheering for the U.S. who don't really watch, I guess, the Leafs all the time. And I think for Leafs fans, we know that defensive player is always there. Like I never
just
feel,
expect it.
Yeah, it's just part of his game now. But for me, it's disappointing. Like, I don't want to score on Canada. Obviously, we're not cheering for the U.S. But it's disappointing for me to see him turn into more of a defensive center. And it's the same thing with Mitch. Like as much as I clown on Mitch and I give him his shit, I really want him to do well. Like he's a Leaf, and I said last episode, Leaf from Toronto, played for London. He should be a fan favorite. Everyone should love him. But same thing with Mitch. He's playing on the third line with Cirelli and Hagel. They're playing defensive roles, and they played great in that defensive role. Like they did what they were supposed to do. But when you have a guy who wants to be paid like McDavid and McKinnon, I expect more from him when he goes to these tournaments where he's playing with the best in the world, right? And he kind of blends in a little bit. And same thing goes for Matthews. Like he's playing the defensive role. I thought he looked pretty physical when he needed to be against Canada. But there was never a clear cut. Well, there was a clear cut chance, but he didn't score it. And usually we expect Matthews to bury some of the chances.
I'll defend Mitch Marner's position on Team Canada a little bit, just for the sake of, I think, given the makeup of their roster, that's just kind of the role that he has to play now because he's not going with Crosby and McKinnon. Like that's
Well, he was going with Mitch McDavid,
But
dude.
here's
He
the
didn't
thing.
look that great. I'm sorry.
You got to be a specific
think
kind of
that's
player
right.
to be able to play with McDavid,
that's
though.
the thing.
Like
That's the point I was going to make.
we know Mitch Marner.
Yeah.
Mitch Marner doesn't have, I think, the speed to play with McDavid. Like you got to have like such a specific skill set to be able to play with McDavid, or you have
Why
to.
are they playing Mark Stone with them, dude? Like John
Because
Cooper
Mark
had a
Stone
terrible
is like
tournament, in my opinion.
arguably like top 5 smartest player in hockey. Like
No,
I
I know,
think
but he
Mark
can't
Stone
keep
can
up.
adjust to any
Like
line.
we saw the same thing with Crosby.
I know he
Crosby
can't.
is a very smart player, but he can't play with McDavid because he can't keep up with his foot
No,
speed.
but
like,
I
which
think
is,
Mark Stone is different though. Like Mark Stone is just such a smart player that he can adjust, I think, to any situation like
He's
that.
the Bobby
and then,
McMahon of that line. He's the Michael Bunting of that
like,
line.
He could kind
To-
of play
to
anywhere, I think.
McDavid and points.
Mitch is just, I think, doesn't work with McDavid in that way because I think they both look kind of for that. Although not as much McDavid, but they're both more so playmakers in their natural, play. And I don't know. I think they just play at different speeds. Like McDavid can just be so dominant with his speed and just his explosiveness.
We saw
And
that.
he plays that rush play very well, and I think Mitch Marner comes from a Leaf system where they don't really play the rush.
But they
And
used
they
to.
haven't
Like,
played the rush. They used to, but that was like 6 years ago, man. Mitch Marner's
They
not
still
that
did
kind
it
of
with
player
Keith.
anymore, and the Leafs
Keith was a
don't
little bit
really
more of
play
a rush. The Leafs with Keith, they were a lot
the
more rush
last
than
couple of
Berube.
years, dude. Not the last couple of years.
They were a
The
lot
Leafs
more
were
rush
not a rush
style than
team in the
Berube.
last like 2-3 years. Leafs
No,
were
but
not
still,
a rush
he's
team.
dude, you don't forget how to play rush style hockey, especially when you're Marner.
You don't
Like, that's the
forget,
type of style
but,
they
like,
want to play.
I just think they adjust, like your play style adjusts, and I don't know. I don't know. I think just certain players don't work with.
I just
McDavid,
expected them
and
to have more of a difference for their teams. I didn't
I get that, yeah.
see Marner coming into the tournament as a third line right winger. Like I saw that
It's
as
not
like
it's not as fun as a fan of those players. Like you want to see them, have like 25,000 points in 3 games. Like
it's not even that's not fun. It's just I thought his skill set should translate, and what we see from him in the regular season should translate to more of an important role. And for me, my fear was that we'd come into this tournament and we'd see the Leafs representatives kind of blend into their teams when they're playing against with the best, because I think when it comes to the playoff time, we do see them blend into games a lot, and I kind of feel like we're seeing that again in this tournament.
That's fair. That's completely fair. I honestly think
fair assessment.
I
yeah.
think the thing is still though, just And there's no way to definitively say if that is it, because I mean we've seen plenty of evidence from the Leafs in the playoffs over the years that that could totally be it. They're blending in, but for Matthews at least. But for Marner, I still think it's just him and McDavid don't mesh well as line mates. Him and McKinnon don't mesh well as line mates. Okay, well those are your top two centers who the entire team is built around. Find a different role for him. I don't think that's necessarily a huge knock on him as a player.
I think there's also something to say about like Marner is like an extremely good defensive player as well as Matthews.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Right? And I think it's perfectly fair in an international setting to utilize. Like, I think Mitch Marner is probably one of the best defensive players on Team Canada.
Yeah.
Like,
but
he's definitely one of the tops on the team.
It's probably why him, Mark Stone, Sidney Crosby might be the top
they're
three.
top. They're he's one of the top defensive players. So
maybe
I don't think it's
Cirelli,
even.
I don't know.
I really don't think it's that unreasonable to use Marner on Team Canada, like with a team with the amount of depth that we have here in Canada on forward at least. I don't think it's unreasonable to use him as a defensive player, but I do understand your point that like you want to see them be more like dominant
especially
offensively.
when he wants the money that he's asking for, because you're seeing him play a role that Hadel and Cirelli are playing, where they make a fraction of, not even a fraction, it's a way less than what he wants to make, and he's being put on a line to play the same role as them when all the best players are there, right? Like I don't.
You finish your point. Sorry, finish your point.
Yeah, no. I think that when you ask for the money that he wants, you expect him to perform like the best player in the league, or one of the best players in the league, and like during the regular season, he's right there. He's a top 10 winger in the league. Like you see that performance from him where you're like, okay, maybe he does deserve that much money. But again, when it comes to the best players coming together, which is what we see in the playoffs, he doesn't look like one of the best players on the ice. He looks pretty average. Not even average. He doesn't stand out, and I don't want to pay a guy whatever, like 12 mil he wants when he's being reduced to a defensive role when the best players in the world are there, right? And he plays the role well. Like, I'm not denying that Mitch Marner isn't a great defensive player. I think that's one of the strongest parts of his game, the defensive aspect. That we see him on the PK all the time, and he's a really good.
But you're saying
killer.
that's an $8 million
obviously
player.
Division. 100%, and I think you're seeing him play the same role as guys who make way less than that, and you're getting the same output from them. You know, exactly.
But I will say actually, this is kind of on a completely different angle. So Seb, go ahead. I'll say this after.
My viewpoint on that is like while I get what you're saying, for me personally, like I don't want to put too much investment on like how much money someone deserves based on kind of like, or using this international tournament as like a reason to say, oh, maybe this guy doesn't deserve this kind of money, because
it really has.
I feel like international hockey is just a different kind of setting. Like you sometimes you just got to adjust to what's working in the moment. And right now, Mitch Marner just isn't working with like the top two lines. And I feel like if there was a line that Mitch Marner could work with in those top two lines, if there was a mix, he would be playing there and he would be dominant. But unfortunately, I feel like just Nathan McKinnon and Connor McDavid play two styles that just don't really mesh with how Mitch Marner plays, and that's why we've seen him reduced to the role he's in. I don't think it's necessarily a blight on, maybe he doesn't deserve, the $12 million. I'm not even going to necessarily disagree that, maybe he doesn't deserve $12 million. I'm not even going to disagree with that, but I just don't think an international tournament like this is really the best use, like the best case.
I agree.
I'm gonna wait until this year in the playoffs to make that adjustment where he is the, top two best player on the team. He is one of the clear-cut stars, and we should expect that dominant performance.
In the playoffs, you will get that matchup with a bottom six where you can. A bottom six who's not at an international level. Like it's not lost on me that they're playing against the best players in the NHL. You're going against the Americans who have arguably the better team than you. And it's all the best NHL players. And I do agree with the fact that you're saying that international hockey is different. I think we are seeing Devin Taves right now that he doesn't look like himself. Like I think we've come accustomed to watch him in the NHL, and he's an unbelievable defenseman. And he comes here and he looks kind of average. Not even. I think even at times he doesn't look that great. But I just think that I would still wish that when he was on that line with Hadel and Strelly, that he would stand out a little bit more amongst them.
Yeah.
Like that, he kind of blends in when they're all on the ice together. And I don't know, maybe you need that in the third line that's playing defensive hockey where you don't want anyone to try to make those like really aggressive plays. But I just think that whenever I see the Leafs or Leafs players go to somewhere where you're facing the best competition, I'm hoping they stand out because that usually means, okay, in the playoffs, they're finding ways to play against the best and they're finding ways to be productive. And I don't think all three of them. I'm usually a really big Nylander fan, and I thought he looked kind of average with Sweden. I thought he had his moments. I think he's had more moments than Matthews and Marner did. I think like that end-to-end rush, handed off to Carlson. Carlson scores, cool. The pass to Bratt, nice play. But like I just don't see enough from them. And I'm real. We don't talk about really that much with Sweden because I don't think Sweden and Finland got a lot of talk just because they simply weren't as good as the U.S. and Canada.
They weren't that good, yeah.
No, but I just didn't think that either of them had. All three of them, I don't think had a defining moment aside from Mitch in 3-on-3. And like I said, I don't value the 3-on-3 that much because we've seen him be great in 3-on-3. We had that goal against Shesterkin in overtime. We saw him make a great defensive play against the Oilers and go back to the win score.
Moment though.
Oh no, I 100% agree with you. I'm not even denying that that was a clutch goal. Like, it was a clutch goal, but like I just don't think that it means much for this Leafs. Like, because everything that they do right now, I'm looking forward to the playoffs because I mean,
no 3-on-3 in the playoffs.
I've seen them do everything in the regular season, dude. Like I'm sorry, I'm kind of just numb to any type of regular season success they have because it's like, all right, whatever, dude.
Yeah,
like, congratulations
I will say,
on a great regular season.
I saw this coming before the tournament because one thing I said a lot in the last episode was it's a 3-game tournament, maximum 4 games. It's really, really short, but this has been an incredible tournament. It's been incredibly exciting. So that those three games have felt so long. So we're drawing conclusions that you normally wouldn't draw after 3 games. So like, I honestly think it's just the circumstance. Marner wasn't working with McDavid. The team didn't score shit against the USA. Got to mix it up. Falls in that role.
Yeah, I agree. And listen, Mitch isn't the only one on Canada I've been disappointed with. Like, I thought before the Finland game, McKinnon looked like, I was like, dude, what are you, like, he doesn't look like McKinnon. And then obviously against Finland, he scores a couple and he looks better, but Finland's also not really they weren't a great team.
Too strong.
Yeah, like Canada's just a better team, and we all played them until like the last like 2 minutes, and we kind of fell apart for some reason. That was really scary. And I'm not even saying that. I don't want to make it sound like, oh, this is why you shouldn't give Mitch Marner the money he wants. I'm just saying that it's another moment on top of all the other moments that we've seen where they play against the best, where he doesn't really look like one of the best players on the ice.
12 million, can you show up ever?
Yeah. Yeah, again, I don't expect him to be the best player on the ice when he's playing for Canada because you have, like, it's not realistic. You have McDavid, you have McKinnon, you have even Point. There's an argument that Point might be better than Marner. Like, he scores goals. I just, guys on that ice, I always expect to be better than Marner. I just wish I saw more from him, especially when you're comparing him to his line mates. Sometimes I wish there was moments on that third line where I'm like, wow, like, that's what you get for playing Marner with Hadel and Cirelli. Like, they're not there for him. And I never felt that. I thought that Hadel was a little bit more into the game, and I thought Mitch just kind of blended in than everyone else.
I would love to see that line, and it won't happen because it's just because of the nature of the team. But I would love to see that line with a different center, like Hagel, Crosby, Marner. I think that could be a really exciting line. Obviously, if their role is to play
defense. Play offense. Sorry, yeah. Well, that's what they're doing great defensively, but they're kind of an offensive black hole right now. Yeah. Like, you're not getting a lot from them offensively.
Maybe throw Sam Bennett.
And Bennett, but like
Sam Bennett. He's been surprising, actually.
I have liked him, actually. I was really disappointed when they brought him, but he's been good. Yeah. Especially against the U.S. who needed. I was enjoying there and start playing pretty physical. Yeah. And I think obviously they don't. I wouldn't take him for the Olympics. I just think that the open ice, the bigger ice, and the double IHF rules don't really lend itself to his game at all. Like, I think a couple of those hits he lays get penalties because the double IHF refereeing is kind of soft. But that's a topic for a different time. We could talk about that during the off season, like Olympic
talk about
hockey.
That in next year.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I just wish that the guys that we sent to the Four Nations showed up a little bit more, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know, maybe Matthews is hurt, maybe that's the reason, but like then don't go because we haven't done anything in the playoffs. Yeah, Mitch, he's blending in, and like I've seen a lot of people say, oh well, Reinhardt's blended in and Stone's blended in, and nobody talks about that. And I'm like, well, yeah, they won a cup. Like you get past when you win a cup, and rightfully so, because you.
But I think this is
completed
I think this is the thing again, where it's been 3 games, and those 3 games have felt really long, so the light kind of shines a little brighter, especially on Marner, like you said, just because he hasn't been there and he hasn't done that. So
yeah,
I think
I don't like when people say, "Oh, Stone doesn't do anything." I'm like, "Well, yeah, dude, because he's shown up when it matters before." Like the pressure that Mitch has on him is all created by himself. Because guess what? If you performed when it mattered most, nobody would say anything about that. Like if it was a one-time thing where last year he didn't play well, then everyone's like, "Oh, like Mitch, that was weird. Mitch kind of had it off, didn't have a good series. Like we're used to him playing really well." And that happens with Willie, I think, for the most part. I think when Willie has a bad playoff game, they're like, "Oh shit, like where was Willie? Like he's usually showing up clutch." And you build your own narratives, I think, in the playoffs, especially when you've been here for that long. It's not even like with Mitch where it was like Nas, where it was like, oh, you got suspended twice and you're traded. Like you have, like, we're kind of forced into a move here. Like Mitch just had tons of time to build up.
9 years.
He's had tons of time to build up and I keep saying Mitch, and it's mostly because I care about Canada more than the U.S. So if Matthews is a ghost for the final, I really don't care. But it goes for exactly. It goes for Matthews too. Like if you guys have had 9 years here to do something and you haven't, and now you talked about all the pressure playing in Toronto. It's because you guys haven't done anything. There's pressure in Toronto because you guys have been here for almost a decade and you haven't won shit. Yeah, like that's why there's pressure.
You said it last episode. Like, Matthews has also had the same issues in the playoffs as Mitch. Just he's shown up a little bit more than Mitch has. Just kind of the nature of the player that he is too. So, anyways, we can move
on. I think that kind of turned into like an extended Leafs corner. I didn't really mean to do that.
Oops.
I don't know. I think for just briefly touching on Canada, then we can move on to like the final preview. Maybe let's just kind of throw it into the preview here because maybe.
Did we not want to talk about like Are we talking about like the injury stuff?
I do. I was gonna get into that. Talking about the U.S. So we could do it right now. I think. Charlie McAvoy, I think, is the biggest one. McAvoy got an upper body injury in the tournament of the Four Nations. I think it was on the. People are saying that it kind of happened during the Yoel Armia. I think Yoel Armia caught him with something after the play, and it was kind of like a cheap shot against Finland the first game. And then he was obviously admitted to UMass Hospital, I think it was, in Boston, because he had a infection. I don't really know how. I didn't really understand what they were saying about he had an infection that was related to the upper body injury that he had.
I imagine there was like a cut or something, and like
maybe something like that. I don't know. I don't really want to speculate because like the health injuries or health related stuff is kind of like a little bit tricky. But obviously Boston isn't too happy with I think I saw something that Boston isn't really happy with how the doctors handled it. I mean, which is pretty fair when your best defenseman goes to one of these tournaments. You expect the best type of care, and now he's out. I think he's week to week with this upper body injury that they don't really know.
Rough. I mean, he's still in the hospital, isn't he?
Yeah, I think there was something that said that it was something with the AC joint, and they said that I think they need the infection to clear before
he's getting treated with some IV antibiotics right now, dude.
Yeah, like it's a bad situation.
If I'm Boston, like I get it.
You gotta talk to the league. I'd be going after the league. Like, what the hell happened? How did our best defenseman get an infection from an injury?
There's the reports from Greg Wyshynski that the Bruins are quite displeased with how Team USA has handled this.
I would be too. I would be too.
Because for me, it's like, listen, if I was Boston, I would be like, I think everybody knows how hockey players are. Like, I guarantee you, Charlie McAvoy, whatever, had that hit in the game against Finland or something or whatever, and felt fired. Wait, did it happen in the game against Finland?
I saw someone say that Armia hit him during Finland. I should say I'm not 100% sure if that's exactly when it happened, but he didn't leave the game. Yeah. He didn't leave the game in the Canada game. Like,
what I was going to say is that he 100% felt something, and he was like, no, I'm going to go. I want to play for my country. And, like, that's hockey players. We know it.
Yeah.
But I feel like when you're in this is an NHL-sanctioned tournament. It's not like a double IHF. It's not like a separate organization. I feel like if you were an NHL ran tournament and, you're running Team USA, you should be like, okay, this is like, we appreciate your pride and whatever in the country and that you want to play, but like, you know, your team kind of has to take precedence here. We're going to keep you out of the lineup.
Not even that. It's just the medical staff needs to have. It's their call to make to say, no, you're not good enough. This injury could get worse if you play. You got to sit. It's the medical staff's job to do that, and they are not doing their job if they don't hold them out of the lineup.
I feel like if this is, again, like I said, I feel like if this is a double IHF tournament, you know, like the Olympics or something, it's different. But I think because this is, you know, a
NHL event.
4-game NHL event, I feel like, you know, probably should have been held out of the lineup.
Or at least talk to the Bruins. It seems like they didn't talk to the Bruins at all.
Or talk to the Bruins. Yeah, they didn't say anything to the Bruins.
Yeah, I'm surprised there's no communication between the NHL teams and the
Charlie
US.
McAvoy telling the Bruins,
I was just about to say that.
Well, I don't know, dude. I don't know how much of that is on the player though, dude. Like exactly. If you have an injury and if you go to the medical staff and they tell you, because I'm sure, listen, hockey players want to play every game, but they're not stupid, dude. If they think they're actually hurt, they're going to, like, you get trainers on you every day, like doing just say massages or taping stuff up. Like, I'm sure they checked them out and they probably told them, like, yeah, like, I mean, I don't know if it probably can't get worse. Like, there has to be a miscommunication somewhere between the training staff and the player for that.
Sure. I mean, the player isn't
for this to happen.
The player isn't a doctor. The player is a player, and his passion is playing hockey, and what he does is play hockey. So he wants to play hockey. So I mean, we've all done stuff like this before, where I can't think of a specific analogy right now, but it's like he doesn't want anyone to know that he's hurt.
To miss out on this. He doesn't want to miss out on this.
It's like when maybe you're hurt or something, and your parents like, no, you have to stay home from hockey tonight. And it's like, you know, they're gonna say that. So dude, like, don't tell them that you're hurt, so you can go play hockey.
For a lot of these guys, they haven't played best on best their whole life, so they don't know what happens if the Olympics comes around next year and they're hurt and they can't go. Like, do you know when you're gonna get that chance again? You don't. So when the chance is here, you're seeing a lot. And this is what PK Subban was talking about this on the I can't remember what network it was exactly, but and I'm not a big fan of PK Subban just like hockey takes. I'm a big fan of PK Subban like the person. I think he's pretty, like, he has a good persona and everything. I just don't think his hockey takes are that great.
Yeah,
but
he's got some weird
he was saying that the Four Nations only works because the players bought in. And he's 100% right, because you know what? I never really felt this way, but a lot of people were talking about it. What if they go there and they don't really care and they're kind of floating around and it's kind of just like the national team all-star game? And that very well could have happened, dude. But no, the players bought in. They're fighting. They're hitting each other. They're running each other. Like, they don't care. About the fact that they're in the middle of a season. They're taking it seriously.
This really means something to them.
Like I said, for a lot of these guys, you never know what you're gonna get this opportunity to play again, because you didn't have it for a decade. For a lot of these guys, the last time they played for their country was the World Juniors, or if they went to the World Championships after the tournament, and it's still not the same at all. So I don't blame McAvoy for if he didn't say something or didn't tell the Bruins. Like, I feel like if you have an injury, you should trust the medical staff on the team you're playing for currently enough to go to them and check you out. And that responsibility, he doesn't, like, I don't think he needs to be calling the Boston team doctors and saying, oh, by the way, this happened. Like, I feel that's something
it's also probably
deal with after.
Probably more of the job of the Team USA medical staff to inform the Bruins medical staff to
disclose that.
100%, dude.
This is happening.
It's like when you're in trade talks. Like, I feel like both organizations trade their medical documents. Like, we see. I mean, I don't know if this really helps with hockey. Actually, no, it does. Like, if you sign somebody, you get physical reports from other teams after you go to sign them or trade for them, right? So, like, physicals are a thing that they do. So, like, I mean, I don't know. I feel that's more of an organization thing.
Sure.
You know?
Anyways, so McAvoy, that all being said, McAvoy's out for the championship game on Thursday night. USA, there were a bunch of reports yesterday and today that Quinn Hughes was being flown out to Boston.
That was so weird.
Oh my God, they're so weird. They're like inviting the whole country at this point.
I know. Tage Thompson and Brett Pesce have now been.
What do you need them for?
Hughes wasn't invited.
Why do you need Brett Pesce?
They did. Hughes wasn't invited, and Hughes was never flown out because he was never medically cleared.
Something happened with Sullivan and Guerin there, where I think they got communications mixed up. Because Sullivan said in the press conference that, oh, he's flying to Boston. And then like hours later, he's in Vancouver in a non-contact jersey.
Yeah,
And they're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what? And then the reports come out today that he was never physically cleared. So something happened there where I think maybe Garen was trying to get Quinn Hughes to Boston, and Sullivan maybe misunderstood something, or the
Right.
communication wasn't clear there.
I think-
and because he did say, like, word for word, Quinn Hughes is coming to Boston, and everyone lost their mind because they're like, oh, it's like an Avengers like type shit. And I was like,
Yeah, and like
that was crazy,
somebody's gonna go whack Jake Sanderson.
yeah, dude. If
That
I'm
was-
Sanderson and I hear Quinn Hughes is coming to Boston, I'm
I'm
walking.
hiding.
Dude, I won't eat. I'm not eating for 24 hours. I'm drinking only tap
Nobody's
water, and I'm
finding me.
locking my door, dude.
That was
like, you
so
will not see me
stupid.
until we get on the ice.
That was so stupid. Quinn Hughes was part of the original roster. I'm Canadian. I want Canada to win. I think if Quinn Hughes is cleared to play, he should be allowed to play. I think it's stupid to hold him out.
I think it's different though because the rosters weren't final until I think like last Monday.
Yeah, I know.
So
I
they
know.
could make but just because he was on like the original doesn't mean that he's like entitled to that spot
Yeah.
again. Like once he's off the roster, he's
sure.
off the
That's the
roster. Like
rules.
he's not
That's the
considered
technical name.
a part of the team.
That's the technical rule. That's what should happen. But in fairness, come on, man.
But the rules were
on.
weird, dude. The rules were really weird for who
This whole
can fill in,
tournament, they've
who
been
can't.
weird, yeah.
Like, just Harley comes in, and he's not even like he has to stand the whole way to watch practice, which is first of all
stupid.
completely stupid. What the why? And in the first place, why did they have so few extras? Like, you know, it's a tournament.
They
you
should have
know,
had an on-call list or something.
like they should have had a lot. Yeah, they should have had a black aces,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
guys who sit in stands and watch and are allowed to skate. Because it's not good for the health of the player who's just standing there either. Because you haven't been on the ice, so you're not allowed to practice. And then, like in a team practice, and you just have to throw into a game. And to be fair to Harley, I thought he was the best defenseman on the ice
was
against the U.S. He looked really good. But then after they said, oh, he could play now.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, why does it matter now that he's played that one game? Why is he all of a sudden eligible to play
They're
regardless?
flying by the
I
seat of
didn't
their
get
pants.
that.
They didn't think about it enough in advance or
Yeah,
something.
I don't think they thought about this at
Yeah.
all.
What I want to know is like why is the U.S. now allowed to invite Brett Pesce and Tage Thompson? Like what?
Maybe-
why?
I
I don't.
think it-
Okay, I
what is that
understand
about?
Pesci. I get Pesci, but I don't understand
I
Thompson.
think
because-
maybe it wasn't
Just-
Oh,
but
you know
just, like,
what?
what?
That's Chucks. The Chucks are hurt. Both of them have something. So maybe if
I
they're on
guess,
call, but you have extras though. Like, I don't understand the forward.
I'm
thing.
wondering if they're not even like, with the team or if they're just like in Boston, like, hey, like it's not through the tournament or anything. The team just called them and said, hey, something might happen.
I
Can you
guess
come to Boston
maybe
in
that's
case?
what I was wondering. Like,
I don't know.
I get
is
Pesci
it
because
a
like you
team
can't
on
get.
call thing? Or?
I get Pesci because like they need a defenseman because McAvoy's out.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't get Tage Thompson. I thought they had enough forwards there and enough extras where they're fine. Like Kreider's there. So who's their other extra? Do you guys know it was Kreider?
They only have one extra forward.
Yeah, I think
they only have one extra?
each team only gets one extra.
Strider,
forward.
Trocheck, and
Oh, I thought it was
Larkin
two
were kind of
for two.
rotating.
I thought it was two
Is it
extras.
two?
Was it not?
just one.
Because I know Jarvis and
No, Jarvis wasn't an extra.
Jarvis. No, it was Bennett. Bennett was the extra.
They only.
Yeah, I guess you're
they
right. It's
only
only
have
one
13
extra. So yeah, I guess they do have an extra. They have an injured forward core right now. That a bunch of guys are banked up. Like Matthews is dealing with something. Tkachuk is dealing with something. But both Tkachuks are dealing with something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. I also want to talk about. I wonder how willing the NHL teams are going to be to send their players to these events from now on with how these injuries have kind of piled up here. Like obviously, I talked about Trocheck taking a shot to the hand. Just the U.S. team alone is battered with injuries. Like Trocheck, both the shots are dealing with something. Brady didn't finish the game against Sweden. They said he was sick today and he's going to play on Sunday, on Thursday. I mean,
It's you don't really think about it until it happens. Like these are
Yeah.
all players that play such important roles to their
Yeah.
teams, and it like teams that are some of these teams are like in the thick of it, like Boston.
Ottawa, dude. Boston.
Ottawa, dude. Losing
New
their-
York.
like if
New York
Tkachuk
trying
is
to get
injured,
Yeah.
if Tkachuk is injured, they might be fucked. Their playoff
They
hopes
are,
might be
they are,
fucked.
dude. There's no if Tkachuk is not healthy and is not performing to the way that he can,
They
I
might
don't
be
think Ottawa's
fucked.
making the playoffs.
I think
Boston
the other
is
thing
still
if you're
Boston's
New
still
York,
trying to
If
like.
you're New York who's trying to climb into the playoff race, you just got Trocheck there who just hurt his
Yeah.
hand blocking his shot.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have Kreider
That's a
who's
top
playing
two
games,
center.
and you're nervous about that, dude. Like two of your top forwards are at that tournament.
Trocheck is a top 2 center for you. Like that's a huge
Yeah.
blow.
absolutely a consideration, but I think everybody's in agreement that it's like incredibly lame if you hold your players out from tournaments like this.
I'd agree.
Yeah.
And listen, like you're not going to tell, like the Oilers aren't going to tell Connor McDavid, no, you can't go. like Connor McDavid, will
Imagine.
say like, yeah, dude, like fuck you. I am your franchise.
And honestly,
like,
it's
the reason we got
the
to
best
come out is
player
because
in
of
the
like,
game.
yeah,
Nah, you're not going
it
fuck
starts
you.
and ends with that, doesn't it? Like McDavid's, what's the word? Just McDavid's like saying, "Hey, no,
Oh,
actually,
Sid McDavid, yeah, I'm going, yeah.
His endorsement is the word I was looking for.
Yeah, like what's gonna happen? Like if he goes, like the Oilers are gonna put out a memo saying, "Oh, we did not clear Connor McDavid." Like, it's not gonna happen, especially with the top players. The top players have so much power now, where it's like, yeah, you're
That'd be
going.
so
If they want to
funny,
go, you
though.
want to go.
Especially if it's
Just like
yeah.
Big Stan Bowman over there, just like fuck
Yeah.
you, you're not
especially if
going.
it's
No,
an
but, like,
NHL
if you're-
tournament. I think it's just.
But if you're like Vinny Trocheck, like I feel like the team has more power over you than what you say. No, like if you're one of those bubble guys who's not like one of the main guys on that roster, like if you're a depth defenseman and who's a number one for his team, like if you're Jake Sanderson and that's Ottawa, like don't you think Ottawa might say, hey, like we don't really know if we want you to go into that?
If I'm Ottawa, I'm saying fuck no.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. But like,
Stay here.
do you guys think that
You're
the
not going.
teams have more pull with players who aren't like number one
know.
centers on these teams? Like,
I think the issue is that it definitely damages your relationship with that player.
yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the biggest issue you find with it, even if you have that power. And management isn't always about keeping a good relationship with your player. Like we saw that with Dubas, how he that was his biggest mistake.
yeah.
Trying to
Like,
keep a
trying
good
to be-
relationship with every
yeah.
player and be like, the best friend. You don't always have to be, have the best relationship, but I do think, especially with your star players, you should try to have peace, and I feel like that's something that could disturb the peace.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think it's just unlucky.
Yeah. I mean, they could get injured at
Yeah,
the
I
All-Star
don't know.
game. Like, if something, like, you turn the wrong way, tweet something. Which, I mean, it's obviously a lot less of a chance of it happening because
I
you're
think
going
the
into
biggest
games where guys are
risk,
fighting. But, like,
I think the biggest risk of injury at the All-Star game is if you're in the fastest skater competition.
yeah, you just pull
Like that's the
something.
biggest
Yeah.
risk of
if
injury.
Yeah.
Nikita Kucherov shits his diaper so hard,
Yeah.
he injures himself. Anyways,
Yeah, okay. So, you guys just want, like, I think we've talked about the majority of it. Just quickly, there's documentaries coming out on the tournament.
Yeah, true. I'm interested.
I think one of them already aired on Sportsnet.
one
I
of
think
them
they're
aired
airing on
today.
Sportsnet
I meant to watch that too, but we were supposed to
yeah.
record a.
at 8.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
kind of
I
got
skipped it.
caught up here. But, yeah, I don't know. So I just think main things for Canada going to this game to the U.S., so you got to figure out how to break that trap. You got to figure out how to stretch them a little bit because, listen, they had no ice to work with, so you got to find ways to be, especially Hellebuck, like, he's a good goalie, so you got to, like, these random, like, muffins from the outside from, like, different angles aren't going to beat
God.
them. So you
It will be
got to
Binnington,
find
though.
ways to, they might be Binnington. You gotta find ways to get it into the middle of the ice, and you're not gonna get there with the puck. I think you just let the traffic in front, just start wiring them from the blue line, like just start shooting.
It's
it,
the only
just see if
thing you
get
can
some
do.
through.
Like,
Yeah, you got
and-
or you gotta find a way to stretch them. Like, you're the best coaching staff in the world. You gotta figure out a way to stretch these guys when they're playing the trap like this. I don't know how possible it is because if you stay compact, then you stay compact. But
Binnington just scares me, man. Like this whole tournament, he's just like, it's like his high. I want to see the splits of like his high danger save percentage compared
low
to like
danger.
medium and low.
Yeah.
Because I swear to God, he will make like the crazy, like some great high danger saves. Like he'll come
Yeah.
across the crease and just deny you, or like it'll be a breakaway and he stops it. But then fucking Jake Gensel coming down the boards.
Oh, yeah, it
wires
was
a
Gensel.
shot from the hash,
Yeah.
like from the
I think it
hash
was Kyle
marks
Connor and
and through the
Gensel,
5
yeah.
hole. And it's
Not even
just
the
like,
hash
how
marks,
does
it
that
was, like,
how
the
does that go in?
boards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the boards along like that
the
hash
thing I
mark
will
area.
say about
and-
about Binnington is this tournament, I don't think he's been their problem at all. I think he played.
he hasn't been. He hasn't
I don't
definitely
think, I
not
don't think
been the
he's
biggest
a top 5
problem.
problem, bro.
No,
I think
definitely not been the biggest problem, but-
Against the US, they didn't create enough chances. And when they had their chances, they didn't take them. And then against Finland, like, okay, one goal was soft, and they were already up 4-0 when he allowed it. And then after that, so those goals, I'm like, oh my God, like, where's the defense on it? Like, you have, I think it was Granlund who scored the 4-3 goal, where he's a wide open in the slot, and the pass gets like,
Yeah.
tape to tape, top corner. Like, you can't do anything about
and
that.
the go-ahead
He definitely
goal
hasn't
scramble
been-
in
the
front,
go-ahead
like-
goal
Definitely
from,
hasn't been the biggest problem.
Yeah, I completely agree. The go-ahead goal from
Yeah.
Larkin too. What a
like 2-on-1.
What a terrible turnover from Sidney Crosby, man.
Yeah,
that was brutal.
Which is weird. We don't see that often.
It was a good shot by Larkin too.
Yeah, like I don't know. Listen, Bennington was never. He's never been my favorite goalie. I think we have two better goalies available right now. That should have been at this tournament that aren't there, but we've talked about that already.
I don't think they would have lost the game yet if Logan Thompson was playing. That's just me.
But dude, I don't know, because you know what? You score one goal against the U.S., you deserve to lose.
But the thing is,
you can't expect
it's the game's tied. If Binnington doesn't let that goal,
Jake Gensel goal shouldn't have gone in.
You know what I mean? It's a different game.
Yeah, but dude, like, if you score a one goal, you can't. Like, does the U.S. open up that much more if they're down one after the first? I don't think they open up too much more. Like, it wasn't like the momentum completely switches. I thought that after, like Seb said earlier, the momentum switched after McAvoy laid out McDavid, and I thought after that McDavid goal, I think they played well for another maybe 10 minutes after that McDavid goal, maybe 5 minutes. I didn't think they created a whole lot. I thought they looked pretty.
No, it was a lot of nothing.
Yeah, a lot of the perimeter stuff, a lot of like just stuff where I'm like, well, like, Hellebuck is gonna make that stop. Like, they didn't really test him a whole lot.
Hockey.
And Mitch Warner playoff hockey, and I don't know. I thought that Binnington's taken a lot of shit, and I think he always was going to, regardless of how well he played in this tournament, because people were kind of like focusing on him before the tournament started. And listen, he's allowed soft goals. That first goal against Finland can't go in. The first goal against the U.S. can't go in. There's one against Sweden where I thought it was just god awful, but. Yeah. The defense hasn't been good enough. They haven't created enough, and I mean they created enough against Finland. I just don't think they didn't create enough against the U.S. and Sweden. I thought they were okay. I thought they didn't look great, but they didn't look bad. So I just think you need to get more out of, especially, we always talk about the Leafs, your top players showing up. McKinnon didn't show up until they played against Finland. I thought he looked awful against the U.S. And you need more of those guys, and I just don't think Binnington's the guy to really focus in on right now. Because, listen, am I scared that he's going to let a soft goal in the final? Yeah, obviously. Yeah. Like, it's happened already this tournament. Like, I'd be stupid to be saying
that's fair.
Scared of it.
I still think having him on the team and starting him was the wrong decision. I haven't changed my mind in that. Because I think if you have a better goalie, then the defensive injuries that they've had aren't as big of a deal. Like losing Cale Makar, I feel like is way less of a big deal. It's still a huge deal, but it's not as important if you have a better goalie. If you have Logan Thompson.
I kind of disagree with that in the fact that Makar's injury was, I think it didn't hurt them as much defensively as much as I think it hurt them in terms of the forward, like in terms of offense. So I think Makar creates so much. So, and I thought Harley played well. I just think they kind of screwed themselves over taking Sanheim and Parayko because I think you had better options.
I really wish that the Team Canada management did what the U.S. did with their defense and just pick the best guys.
Yeah, what are we doing? Same with the goals.
Yeah. They just went so far off the board for like this situational nonsense.
Yeah,
we're gonna go pick Colton Parayko. Because he's
Travis Sanheim.
I haven't changed my mind.
We're going to pick Travis Sanheim because he's big.
Sanheim's still confusing to me because, like, Parayko, as much as I hate it, I'm like, all right, well, Bill Armstrong is a GM. Like, he got his guy on the third pair. Like, okay. I knew the thought process with Parayko. I didn't agree with it at all, obviously, but I knew that, like, okay, yeah, Bill Armstrong. But
there's
who on the Flyers organization is there to get Sanheim?
We're going to skip Mackenzie Weegar.
Yeah, Weegar should be there. Weegar should be there.
Fucking
Harley is even better.
Leaf Homer, Chris Tanev. We're gonna skip Chris Tanev.
Dude,
you know who can help with their defense right now? Chris fucking Tanev. That's who could help
Harley
with their defense right now.
Yeah.
Harley's better than Travis Sanheim.
Harley's better than Sanheim and Parayko.
Weegar's better than Doughty.
Even Doughty's been bad, dude.
Weegar's better than Doughty. So much better than Doughty. Doughty's been shocking.
I don't know why they expected Doughty, who's played 2 games all year before I think he broke his leg or something. To come back and all of a sudden
like, I understand
play well against the best in the world.
Doughty's here. Like, I understand Doughty is probably here because he's played a lot for Team Canada in the past, won a lot for Team Canada in the past, veteran guy. Why is John Tavares not there then? Why do we have Sam Bennett and Anthony Cirelli? Like,
well, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. Tavares, I don't think he'd be able to. I think this game is way too fast for Tavares, and I think we'd see him get almost exposed with.
Not too fast for Colton Parayko, though.
we're seeing to be too fast for both those guys, and I'm not.
You
mad
see
that
my point though.
Tavares isn't there.
I don't think John Tavares would have made the team anyways. But it's like if that's the logic for Drew Doughty making the team, then John Tavares should be there over Anthony Cirelli and Sam Bennett and Travis Konechny. Maybe not Travis Konechny. He's been really good.
I
this
agree.
year.
Travis Konechny's goated.
Yeah.
I like Konechny. I think that
Should have been a Leaf.
I think Jarvis is the right scratch right now. I think you keep Konechny in for the final. You just let Jarvis sit it out because I think, to me, Jarvis kind of looked a little bit vanilla in his game, kind of. And I didn't see really a purpose for him when he was playing.
Not
and I think Konechny, what'd you say?
Not a lot going on in Jarvis's game.
Yeah, not a lot going on. I thought, as much as I didn't like how much Cooper was playing Cirelli and Hagel, I saw the purpose of their line. Like, defensively sound, you need a shutdown pair, defensive starts, wins a lot of faceoffs. Like, you can see the purpose there. I just think Jarvis and I like Jarvis a lot as a player. I think he's great for Carolina. Sucks that we have to trade Marlowe with that first, and he's not a Leaf. But,
They would have just picked Rony on Amirov anyway. I know it sucks, but, like, not that it sucks. Like, he was going to be a great player, but teams have their guy. They would have. I don't think them having that pick would have changed whatever.
Yeah, I
they would have. I think they would have just picked Amirov, but
yeah,
I do see
so
your point.
what's the three? Like, I think I got mine now. I'll give you just a couple minutes to think about. But do you have like three biggest like paths of victory for Canada? For me, I think you gotta get some production out of the big guys, specifically McKinnon, when he's not going up against the top line, because McKinnon's getting second. Listen, the second line of the U.S. is not like the second line of the NHL. You're still getting studs. You're facing Matthews. You're facing Hughes. You might get Eichel into the Chuck brothers, but you need McKinnon to look a lot better than he did. I think this team is so much. I mean, it's Captain Obvious here, but they're so much more dangerous when you have McDavid and McKinnon both playing at their best. So I think you guys see a little bit more from McKinnon. I think you need a little bit more balance from your bat, or you got to stretch. No, I didn't change that one out. I think you got to stretch the ice a little bit more on the U.S. You got to find ways to find some space and either get into the offensive zone a lot quicker and stretch them, or find pockets in the offensive zone, or because I think the way you stretch them is through the neutral zone. If you can get them on a quick breakout, I think that's the only way you're really going to get those rush chances, which I think Canada excels the most at, just because of the speed that they have on that team. And then obviously I'm going to go Binnington with my third path. If he makes the saves that he's supposed to make, maybe makes a couple solid ones that people don't really expect them to make, I think they'll have a good chance of winning. I don't expect them to outduel Hellebuck. Hellebuck is just better, but you just can't have him allowing a bad goal at an opportune time, because I think that kills them. So yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have maybe one or two things, or even if you have three perfect?
For me, I think if U.S. runs that trap again, Canada's got to be really on top of their dump and chase game.
Yeah, you got to bury people in the corner, man. You don't want them to be able to go inside the corner.
That's kind of the only way you can really get around that kind of trap if they're going to run it, because if they're running that trap, like you said, if they can't stretch to the ice, McDavid and McKinnon aren't going to be able to get their speed burst through that zone and create those rush chances. Your best bet is just digging in the corner, and maybe you can get a couple big hits and kind of swing the momentum like the U.S. did to you the game before. If they can
especially
get lucky
in Boston,
again
dude. Like, you're not homeless anymore.
Yeah, you got a big advantage with Connor McDavid and Nathan McKinnon, just the fact that they are arguably two of the top three players in the game. Not arguably, I think they are two of the top three players in the game.
At Carr, McKinnon, McDavid. Like,
yeah, like you have three pretty much. Like the three best players in the game, especially with McKinnon and McDavid, with how talented they are off the rush. I think you have a big advantage with that, with them being able to find pockets and mistakes in the U.S.'s game. But I think at the end of the day, they are going to need to really, I think, lock in on that kind of dump and chase game if U.S. is going to run that trap again.
For sure. I completely agree. I think Canada has a huge advantage on their side with speed off the rush, like you said. And I think that they really need to take advantage of what they do best there. And they need to do everything they can to allow McDavid, McCarr, McKinnon, and Point, their fastest players, to succeed. And like you guys said, they got to move the puck, especially in the offensive zone, because you're not going to beat Connor Hellebuck straight. He's the best goalie in the game right now. It's not an easy guy to score on. you're gonna have to, I don't know, move the puck a little bit, get a little complicated, and
I think you're obviously gonna get help with McCarr coming back too.
Sure.
Like they're missing him, so
huge. Like he's he's like a fourth forward back there.
Morrissey didn't really. I didn't think Morrissey had a great game. Especially, I thought he looked decent the first period. After that, he kind of didn't look that great.
It's hard when you're trying to play Cale Makar's role.
Yeah,
like that's not an easy position to step into.
Yeah, I think obviously special teams are going to be huge. They're huge at any game. If you could get a couple on that power play when you do have that little bit more open ice and all your star players on the ice together, if you could get a couple on the, or at least one on the power play, that'd be huge.
Yeah.
I don't know how many. We'll see what the referees. I mean, the refereeing has been pretty. They've put the whistles away, I think, for the most part in these games. We've kind of got like more of a playoff atmosphere than I thought we would have. I thought it would have been a little bit more regular season style refereeing, but
they're really letting the guys just play.
Yeah,
I think,
which I do like. It helps with physicality a lot.
I think Canada's defense has been pretty weak in this tournament, and I think they're just, even on paper, it's been weak. That being said, they're completely capable of shutting down this U.S. team. That's it. They're capable of doing it. They just got to do it.
Okay. So now we're gonna move on to just a couple of. We're almost done here. I think we're just gonna move on a couple of league topics here, and then we'll wrap it. But Malkin, there's a report that came out that Malkin won't retire and won't accept a deal, like a trade anywhere. So I think we're gonna see him play though his last couple of years here. And how much longer does he have on the contract? Is it?
I think it's two more years.
Yeah, so
2 or 3.
He'll probably play out his deal in Pittsburgh and retire at Penn. I don't know how much. I think him not wanting to trade kind of surprises me. I kind of thought maybe if he might have wanted to win
He's
another
in year
cup.
3
I
or
mean,
4.
listen.
He's only got one more after this.
Okay, so
I don't know if Evgeny Malkin would necessarily net you a crazy return at this point in his career.
No, he wouldn't.
It wouldn't be anything close to like what Crosby would get you.
Yeah.
But
what is he on a cup contender? A third or fourth line player? Like he's not a top. Definitely not top.
Third line center, probably.
That kind of.
He doesn't even play defense enough. Like,
Leaf. Just
Malkin?
kidding. I'm just kidding.
For 6.1?
I'm just joking. That would be terrible. No, I think it does hinder the Pittsburgh Penguins like rebuild though. For sure. They're in a tricky spot right now where their vets just like don't want to go.
Yeah.
And it's just like, all right, we're just gonna have to stick this out for another 3 years, and
it's
then
unfortunate because it's the price you pay for all those cups though. They played incredible at the top of their game.
Listen, at the end of the day, the Leafs to get to the end of this road with Matthews, Marner, Nylander, and Tavares and have nothing, at least now, and have to go through this rebuild. At least the Pens have, 3 cups to look back at? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting what you paid for at this point, and what you paid for was not picking in the first round, not picking getting high draft picks, not keeping prospects that you might have hit on later rounds. Like when you have I guess you could call it a modern day dynasty with the Pens. So when you have that,
I'd say for sure.
There's a price to pay that comes with that, and it's just part of it. And you just hope that you win some stuff along the way, and you have something to look back on after you're bad.
These guys.
And I mean, they have more than enough. They have way more than you could ask for. Like if you look at Washington, and I mean, Washington's done a good job of turning around here, but they only have one cup to look back at, right? Like
exactly.
And I would take one cup. I would take one cup. Like if it came to the end of the road
has
where
a chance
Matthews
at
and
another
Marner,
one.
Yeah. Well, Washington's different. Like I said, they were able to rebuild kind of on the fly and retool and put together a really good roster now where Ovi's to enter his final years on a competitive team. But if, like I was saying, if Matthews, Marner, Nylander, and JT all retire and we have one cup to look back on, like, worth all of it. Because, I mean, that's what you play the game for, right?
But they've got 3, and that's really amazing. And honestly,
is it 3 or 4 for Crosby?
3.
Is it 3?
3.
But the thing is, these guys, Crosby, Malkin, Letang, Fleury too, but he's not there anymore. But those guys literally saved the Pittsburgh Penguins franchise. They might not still be in Pittsburgh if not for those couple of guys. Just let them live out their last couple of years of their career living in Pittsburgh. They've got families there. They've got a life there. Unless they specifically ask you for a trade, just let them be comfortable. They've given so much to this franchise, and I don't think like Penguins fans. It'll be a rough couple years for them, but like and it'll get frustrating at times. But honestly, can you even be mad? You got 3 cups out of these guys.
Yeah.
I think
the only thing
Kyle Dubas gets paid $7 million to figure out a way to rebuild without trading, Malkin, Crosby, Letang. So just figure it out.
Yeah.
Like
the only tough part for Pittsburgh is that the last cup came a while ago. Like they've been kind of in this period of like not good enough to win a cup, but like playoff bubble area.
They wouldn't be here without
they
Ron
had like
Hextall.
4 straight first round exits.
Yeah, like they had a lot, and I do think that adds up to like the frustration with the fan base. Like
Totally.
I think if they kind of ripped off the Band-Aid, I don't even know if they should have. Like, but if they ripped off the Band-Aid earlier with this core and kind of,
I don't even think that's it though. I think.
I don't think so either. I think you let Crosby and Malkin, Letang like play out their years and see if they can do anything in the playoffs. And now this is what you get. Like I think
That's not what I was gonna say. I was gonna say I thought you were talking about if you ripped off the Band-Aid like in 2020, say, right?
Oh, in 2020.
I thought that's that's the point you were making, and I would say
I
disagree with that because I think they still had a chance to be good back then, but they just had a god awful management team that ruined everything for them.
Yeah, you're right.
Will say,
I mean, we do forget the Hextall Burke years where they were just brutal. Like the moves that they made were awful. Yeah.
I will say I really do wish that they did better on the Jake Ensel trade.
They did not do good.
They kind of just got a whole bunch of like prospects who are just like they're solid, but none of them are going to be close to as good as Jake Gensel. And then you got Michael Bunting and like a 2nd round pick.
Do you guys know that Ron Hextall was only GM for like 2 years?
Dude, that's
he was terrible for all 2 of them.
God, Jeff Carter.
Did he make that Jeff Carter signing?
Yeah, he traded,
I think so. He made the. You remember?
Nothing.
Do you
he
remember
made the
that?
Granlund signing too? Was that him?
No, that was a trade. They got him back from
Granlund
San
trade,
Jose.
so yeah.
No,
Yeah.
yes, no. They gave him to San Jose.
Yeah, they gave him San Jose.
They got him
how
from
did he
Nashville.
Get there?
Nashville.
Right.
They got him from Nashville.
I mean, he got.
Do you guys remember the Patrick Hornqvist for Mike Matheson trade?
Ever?
I do, yeah. Because that was so weird. Hornqvist in the Florida jersey.
That was
awful.
But that trade back in the day, we looked at that as like a Florida fleece. Because Mike Matheson, once upon a time, was like dog shit.
Yeah, he was awful, dude.
He
And
was
then Pittsburgh
bad
traded
once
him
upon
for
a time
Jeff
and like overpaid.
Jeff Petrie and Ryan Poehling. And they also traded John Marino for Ty Smith, a 3rd round pick.
Okay, I want to move on from this like Pittsburgh time capsule here. We're running pretty long now.
We are.
We're up over an hour, so I want to move on to expansion. There was Kevin Weeks reported that a group met with the NHL who wants to bring an NHL team to New Orleans. So, I mean, I don't know how much this really matters, but I think we see the NHL with groups of people who want to bring teams to other places all the time. Like I just think it's part of the job just to see what's out there, what the market would look like for an expansion team. But they do want to bring in more teams. Some of the names that we've heard: Quebec City, Houston, Kansas City. I think had one. Atlanta. Sorry, was the other big one, and now New Orleans.
Yeah, honestly.
If there was one spot to get another team, where would you guys want it?
Ooh, that's a good question. The inner Canadian me wants to say somewhere in Canada, but honestly, the growth of hockey in the Southern United States, excuse me, has been something special to watch. It's something that's really important for the game. I think Houston. It's important that Houston gets a team.
The thing I'd say about that, what scares me about the growth of the hockey in the U.S. or Southern
The
U.S.
national team gets too good and Canada can't win anymore. Is that what it is?
Partially, but like the thing is, like a lot of the teams in the Southern U.S. right now are really solid. Like they're good teams. Like you look at those Florida teams, they're really good. Like you look at Dallas, they're really good. I wonder what a market like Dallas looks like if they are a bottom feeder who doesn't have a chance of winning a cup. Because I think that's what gets really scary with these teams.
Though.
No, it is, but
like you get that in any sport.
No, 100%. But what Vegas did a really good job of is when they came into the league, they were. I don't think they expected to be as good as they were.
Yeah.
But they made moves and tried to be competitive, and then they kept being competitive. And what you do is you build a really loyal fan base and strong fan base off of the winning their early years. And then when you have those lean years, then you know what, you still have that fan base there. If you come in, you do what Seattle does, where they're kind of average, maybe they make the playoffs once, or you're just terrible because the expansion draft, as much as it helped, they try to help the expansion team a little bit more nowadays than they did in like the 90s. There's still a chance you could be awful.
Yeah, honestly,
so I don't know
that you said that, Mateo, because I was going to come in here with a point about relocation over expansion and how that's not too much of an option, because 10 years ago, I could have given you 5 teams that would have been decent.
Weren't financially
would have been
stable,
decent
or
contenders to be
10 years ago, we would have said Carolina
I was
was
gonna
a
say
relocation
Carolina,
option.
Florida, Dallas, even.
We thought Carolina,
Nashville,
like,
maybe. But the difference now is that all those teams, rather are good, or even Tampa, or had success over the past 10 years, and now that's not the case anymore. But what if that happens again? Like even Pittsburgh Penguins after the Mario Lemieux years, there was a big threat of relocation back then. And I mentioned earlier in the show,
they were about
Crosby
to
saved the
go
team.
bankrupt.
Yeah.
They were about to declare bankruptcy before they or I think they did before they drafted Crosby.
Yeah.
Crosby,
He saved the team.
They were about to move.
Too. But I would like to see...
Seb, do you want to...
Sorry, yes, Seb.
Go ahead.
The one, I don't really have a specific place, I think. I think any really option that's been brought up would be good for the game. The one thing I don't want, and I see people suggest it all the fucking time, why do people want another team in the GTA?
Because people from Toronto... people for Toronto want to cheer for a hockey team who aren't horrific.
Zero. It makes 0 sense. 0 sense.
It made sense in 1990 to give Hamilton a team. It doesn't make sense anymore.
The issue with having another team, you're purely doing it to try and get cheaper ticket prices. That's literally it. Because there would be no fan base. There's no fan potential here.
I don't know, dude. I think you did a lot of Leaf fans
hockey
that would flip because of how
I'm telling you no.
been.
I'm telling you no. Leaf fandom is generational in this province.
Can I ask you something?
It's deep. There is too many dedicated fans in Ontario. There's not an open fan base opportunity to pounce on and we can build a good fan base here. Everybody that watches hockey in this specifically province already has a team that they're
Ottawa,
dedicated
Montreal,
to.
Boston.
Ottawa, Montreal,
kind of
Detroit, even Detroit,
a little bit.
There's no even
Nordiques,
fucking Buffalo, man.
It's different now too, though, because these teams have existed for 100 years.
100 years. It's an established brand. You can't just put another team in there. You can't put another team in the GTA specifically and just expect them to grow a devoted fan base when there's already a devoted fan base here.
Yeah.
There's no fan growth potential here. Maybe you'd get a few people that flip and whatever, but it's not going to be enough to sustain a team. Literally, they would just be here for people to go and get cheaper ticket prices to watch their favorite team when they come in town. That's literally it. So I don't want to see a team in Hamilton because that would piss me off.
I personally pick Quebec City. I think that rivalry with the Habs would be unbelievable. I think there's another market there. I think you still see Nor'easters a lot of games. I mean, I have one in my closet. You still see a lot of them around. There's that Quebec City area, you would get a lot of people that would cheer for the Nordiques, because I think what the Nordiques did is they appealed a lot to the strictly French Canadians. Montreal is a little bit more of a hybrid of the francophone community there, but Quebec City, you get a lot more French Canadians there, and I think you would get a lot of people who would cheer for the Nordiques, and I do think there's a fan base there, and I think Quebec City kind of got screwed out of a very, very, they got screwed out of a very, although I don't know if Patrick Waugh would have got traded there, and because the second the Nordiques left, they went to Colorado, they wanted Cop. Obviously Patrick Waugh is a huge part there, he was a big part of that team, obviously, and I don't know if he would have got traded to Quebec, but I don't know if Montreal would have done that, but nonetheless, they had a great team in Quebec, and they filled stadiums, and I think there was a lot more of just an ownership thing, and we saw that a lot in the 90s with sports teams, not just NHL, just sports teams in general, where ownership and financial stability wasn't as good as it is now, and we saw them moving around, and relocation was kind of a thing. But yeah, I think Quebec City would be a really solid spot, and that'd be my choice.
That would make sense.
Jacob, you said something before the recording that I agree with you. I don't think we need another expansion team. I think.
Yeah, it's.
You want to take that?
Yeah, for sure. The problem that the league has right now, and it's not really a problem, but it's that you've got 32 teams and you've got equal conferences. So I don't know if there's really room for more teams in the league, and I know that one argument that's made on that is that of there's an oversaturation of talent right now. So I don't think that there's, and I agree with that. I don't think that some people are saying, oh, you're going to have shitty players playing on teams' top lines. I don't think that's true. I think you'll just see more players be able to grow it into a higher potential.
Exactly.
But at the same time, like, I don't know if we need another team.
The problem
I
is
feel
we're
like the
getting
league
one,
is so competitive
because
right now.
Arizona,
I know.
guarantee you is going to have a team within 10 years.
Yeah, but I think that's years down the road, dude. Like, you gotta wait for that.
There's
I think
infrastructure
right now,
that they need.
Within 10
Yeah,
years,
There's no
it's gonna
infrastructure in Arizona for hockey right now.
I think that. Listen, I have a tough time with the oversaturation of talent because I think we see guys like we were just talking about Alex Steves,
Right.
who scores over 30 goals in the NHL or in the AHL, doesn't have a spot in the NHL. Maybe if he gets a spot, he plays well. But I mean, at the same time, I don't know. Like, there's so many. It's tough because I see teams that, like the Leafs, were lucky enough to have so many. I mean, I don't know if we're that lucky considering they don't win shit here, but the amount of stars we have on our team. But like, I don't know. You go to like a market like Buffalo where it's like, damn, like you're cheering for a team and doesn't do anything for like. There's franchises in this league that don't do anything ever, and like I don't know.
But Buffalo
Buffalo's
still has
playoff drought.
They still have a devoted fan base in Buffalo, which is the craziest thing.
It's dwindling, dude. A lot of Buffalo people like
If they make the playoffs,
they don't
right
want
back.
anything. Oh yeah, they'll
That's
be
the
back, but
Dude,
I don't know.
Buffalo's
I think 32 is a
playoff
really good
drought-
sweet spot right now, where there's enough really good players that every game feels competitive, and I don't want like I know they want like I think there's like the numbers like 36 teams by 2030. I think it was. I think that was what the report was. And I mean, that's obviously not going to happen. It's just 5 years, you're going to gain another 4 teams. I doubt that. But I don't think the NHL needs that many teams. And I don't know if
Not
there's
at all.
enough markets in North America that would be able to sustain it. Like, how many more southern United States like markets do you think could actually host a team? Like, I think you could probably get Atlanta. You could probably get Houston, maybe. You already have Dallas there. Like, I don't know. Do you really need Houston?
I guess they
I think
used to
so.
because it's
Houston as a city is like
I
you
know.
need a
I
team
know
in
they're
Houston.
huge, but like, do you think you could have
Phoenix is
both
huge, too.
Dallas and Houston?
I think so.
Phoenix,
yeah. I think you could
Okay.
do.
I don't
do
know.
both.
I don't know how much they really do need another.
I
that
think.
many
I think
can I just
within-
say-
Sorry, Seb. Go ahead. I've been cutting off a lot.
It's just quick. Buffalo's playoff drought starts high school next year.
I know, it's crazy, dude. Ever since like I can't remember the last time the Sabres. I don't
bad.
remember the last Sabres playoff game. Like I know when it was, but I don't remember like
I
it being on
don't.
TV.
I don't know.
Like,
I was like,
I wasn't watching hockey at that point.
what year was it?
2011.
I think it was 2011, was it not?
Dude, I was 6.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
I don't know.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
I think the only thing I remember from when I was 6 years old was like my grade 1 teacher's name. Like that's it. I
Yeah.
don't remember shit.
Yeah. It's. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think with. I was gonna say. So, I was gonna say. I think within 5 or 10 years, I think hockey is gonna be a lot more popular, especially in the United States.
Hopefully.
It's on an upward swing
They're
right
doing
now,
better.
and I think the
I don't
NBA
know,
is on a
people-
downward swing.
people are
so.
Dude, the NBA is awful, man. I can't stand it. I think the problem with the NBA is that they have players that don't want to play games. Like,
Yeah.
why should I care about the games that you're
Jokic,
playing if
bro.
you don't care? It's not even Jokic, dude. There's so many, like LeBron, like and KD was like arguing with people on Twitter the other day. Like,
He
okay,
was
watch
so
hockey.
pathetic.
Yeah, go watch hockey if you don't like our load. Like, okay, dude. Like, all right.
Like I can't
Yeah, I
fault
don't
them
know,
for load
like-
management. Like 82 games is a lot
dude,
of games
I
to play.
can, dude.
Like I mean, you gotta
No,
take
but it's
care of your
not
body.
even-
though.
But they're not even, dude. They're not playing remotely close to 82 games. Like these guys are playing like 60 games.
I think it's also different
And then they
if
want
you
it,
put in the
like-
effort for the games that you're in. Like I think
Dude.
a lot of them just don't really try.
I don't know.
Basketball's
I
not
have
as hard on the body as hockey is too.
No,
No,
it's not.
Like that's the thing. I have a hard time really having sympathy for those guys when like I'm such a big hockey. You see what hockey guys go through,
Yeah.
and they kind of
If-
and like it's just like
Yo.
I don't know. Like Kawhi came here and he won a championship and he had load management. And it was great that he won the championship, but you know what? Like if he didn't win that championship and he left, oh my God, you didn't even play. You didn't play a full year. You came here, didn't win a championship, and then left. Like I feel like people would have a lot. And listen, winning kills all. Like I mean, if legitimately the whole past with the Leafs would be forgotten if Matthews and Marner win a cup here. But I don't know. I don't have a lot of sympathy for the NBA guys when they're getting paid significantly more money than I think the majority of other other sports, and they just don't. A lot of them don't seem like they care that much. And I can't stand the NBA.
If baseball players can play, I know most of them don't play a full season, but if you can play like 150 games as a baseball player in a season, I feel like you can play
Yeah,
majority
but look at
of
all
the
the
season
baseball
in the
players that
NBA.
like their arms are just like not working.
Yeah, blowing up.
Yeah, but you know what? They do it, bro. They do it.
Yeah, but maybe they shouldn't.
It's part of the sport. The thing is with baseball, it's so much less like taxing physically than most sports because you're not
Unless you're a
getting like
pitcher.
you're not getting hit.
Get
you know,
Yanni
like,
Hockenpah in the MLB, dude.
dude, you wouldn't be able to run the bases.
He's better than Alec or whatever. What's his nuts there on the Jays?
Alec Manoah.
No, not Alec Manoah.
Who are you talking
I
about?
miss
What the
prime
fuck
Alec
is his name?
Manoah.
I don't watch the Jays. Oh,
What team? Oh, Alejandro Kirk.
Alejandro Kirk. Yeah.
Poor guy. Kirk is my guy.
Yeah, he's a dog.
We're gonna, last thing, and then we're gonna wrap. Let's just talk about this quickly. Is the jersey colors? It looks like they might be changing in CBA, where we go back to the home team wearing white and the road team wearing colors.
White?
I really could not.
No,
I could not care
please.
less. But Simon and Jacob really want to talk about this.
We
so
just
you
have
guys
to talk
stay
about
with
it.
It's
It's
just
like 11
shit.
o'clock, man.
Yeah.
It's just shit, though. Like, just don't do it. Don't do it.
It's
Don't
not
do
Is
it.
it just me? Okay, I do have one thing to say. I feel like if the team's colors don't like directly mix, then they should like when the Leafs play against Detroit and they wear their blue and red. I think it looks unreal.
yeah, that's-
like, I feel like
yeah,
there's-
why are we
I feel
so
like they
picky
should wear
about
their
it?
colored jersey. Yeah, I feel they should wear their colored like if like the Leafs and Montreal are playing, then I feel they should both wear their blue
Doesn't
and red.
Canada
Like,
versus
feel
US
that
I feel
looks
like it's
better.
because they've
Yeah.
been designated as home and away.
home and away.
I feel like
But
if
I-
you just drop that and it's just like dark and light, then you get like a soccer situation where like
I was supposed to. I'm a
sometimes
huge
they do it
soccer
different.
guy where they have their home and away kits, but they don't. It's
Yeah.
not true. Like they sometimes they wear their home jersey when they're on the road. Like I mean,
Yeah,
they don't really care
I
as
think
much.
if you do that, you could get a lot more interesting, what we call the road jerseys, but maybe you just call it the light jersey. At that point, you could get like
Yeah,
more
dark and
interesting
light.
because most of the league is just like an inverse of their home jersey, and it's not really that cool.
Yeah, obviously have some like reasoning when you go into the games. Like maybe the NHL decides when you get to wear your darts and stuff like that. Because like obviously there's TV aspects of that where maybe something just they don't mix that well. And I mean you want the viewing experience to be good, and obviously you're not going to go put the Leafs and Tampa together and make them both
Yeah.
wear blue. Like that just be
I
stupid.
mean,
but
do
and
it.
it
Fucking do it.
it happens too where teams maybe have a dark alternate that they want to wear on the road, and they say to their home
Yeah.
team, "Hey, can you wear your whites tonight?" And
Yeah.
they do it, right? So like it happens.
Yeah.
This is doable.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But I think we're gonna wrap there. Does anything else you want to say or?
Unless you want to do more quarter century guessing, but I'd really love to just go to bed.
Yeah, me too. No, I'm good. We're good. All right, guys. We appreciate you guys tuning in again. I hope you enjoyed it, and hope you guys have a good rest of your week.
Tune in to Team Canada versus USA tomorrow.
Yeah, let's go.
See ya.